Okay, so there's one other piece of this lead field that I'd like to talk about before we move on to actually converting a lead. When you are talking to them on the phone, what you need to do is you need to be updating this lead status. So I'll just go through all these options real quick for you to explain what each one of those are. So if you've made the cold call and you have no other information, this is what you would pick. If you talked to them and sent them an email, actually no, just if you've sent them an email, you would click this. If you've had a phone conversation with them, that's a good thing to know. You should click on that one. If they scheduled a call back, you should click on that and put it on your calendar to call them back. There is a way to do that in Salesforce with events and tasks. I'm not going to get into that right now. If you're an advanced Salesforce user, you already know about this, and you probably do rely on Salesforce for your calendaring. And if not, it's something you can play with and get used to over time. So no lunch follow-up means that they did not want a free lunch, and just to put them in the follow-up queue, or at least they didn't want one at that time. So these on hold statuses are parked means we're going to keep them in the system, and they don't want anything from us right now. So it's sort of like a neutral place. So parked follow-up means there's no action for us to be taking anymore. We haven't set any sort of expectations that we're going to do anything, but we want to follow up with them later, and that's just because we want to follow up with them. So maybe we'll send them an email 6 months down the road, or find them 6 months down the road and give them a call. Parked on hold just as a more generic version of parked, which means we're parking it, and there's sort of no value associated with whether or not we should follow up. So that would probably be, they'll probably wind up on an email campaign or something. Anyway, closed. So that means the answer is no, they don't want a free lunch. This is good because we want to be able to keep people's information in Salesforce and have that data that we actually did talk to them when they said no, because that's valuable. That's more valuable than just deleting them as a lead. So closed lost means we tried to give them a free lunch, they said no. Closed do not contact means we tried to contact them and they don't want to be contacted. So this is really important to keep that data, because we're going to be importing more data like in the future. So it's good to be able to go through, if someone's told us not to contact them, we will, the application will be able to remember that for us. Bad data means that the phone number was wrong or something like that happened. And closed one means that you successfully got them to either place an order for a free lunch or for a paid one. Then there's other and decided not to call. So those are the things that you should be filling out when you make your phone call to the lead. One other piece of this is logging the call. So the way that you log a call, and again, I'll just go back to my leads list to do this from scratch for you. So I'm going to go to here. That gives me the 7702, 20 to 50 people. And you click on their name. And then in order to log a call, there's a couple places that you can actually do that. If you scroll down in activity history, you can just click on log a call here. And that takes you to the log a call page. The other place that it is, you can find it under activity history. If you just hold your mouse over this up at the top, it gives you these buttons, and you can click log a call. So once you've clicked on log a call, it brings this up, and this is just a sheet that gives you details that you can fill in about the call that you're making. So this would also be a good place, if you remember in a previous video I talked about how you want to edit all that lead data while you're on the phone, and that the best way to do it would either be directly into the computer, or you could also be taking notes in a notebook. This would also be a place to do that if you wanted to. You could just you could take notes here as you talk to the person, like this. If you're a fast typist and that's comfortable for you, this would be a good place to generally take notes about your call. There's some other options here. Again, this is about tasks and the calendaring system. I guess I'll go ahead and mention this right now. The way the tasks work is there's a calendar in here, and if you enter something into tasks and put the due date on it, Salesforce will remind you about that with pop-up windows whenever you log in. So, again, I'm not going to get too deeply into that. But basically, you want to log that call. It's important to log the call because it lets me and Andrew see that you're actually doing work. It lets us track what you're doing and who you've called, who you haven't called, and what you've done on those calls. So it is important to take credit for the fact that you're calling these people by logging the call through this activity history hot link, and alternatively with this button down here.